The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of your healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding your mental or physical health. The views expressed are those of the host and guests and do not replace personalized care from a licensed professional.
Welcome to Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante, a space where a nurse practitioner and educator shares real talk on mental wellness, mindfulness, and navigating life in and out of healthcare. Let's take a moment to breathe, reflect, and grow together.
Good morning, Dr. Arnold Carriga. Thank you so much for agreeing to be one of my highly esteemed guests today for my podcast. And I would like to also tell you how I am very thankful of your advocacy.
Behind every internationally educated nurse is a story of courage, because it's not easy to be moving across the globe, across the borders, leaving your family behind and starting over and over again. But one thing that we have to remember is that courage alone is not enough. And it's really up to us, as educators, as nurses who are now here, to help build them, to build the scaffolding that helps them not only to perform clinically, but also to thrive here in the US emotionally. And when we support the mental health of our international nurses, we're not really just helping individual nurses. We are strengthening the global nursing workforce. And in doing so, we honor the very heart of nursing itself, the connection, compassion, and care, which goes across the borders from the Philippines, from wherever they are, and now in the US.
For those who are afraid to come out there to seek mental health, what is your call for action for them, Sasha?
I would say that if you are worried about your blood pressure, think about mental health as your blood pressure. That it is normal to take care of your mental health. So whatever stigma that is connected to the idea of mental health, try to lessen that to a minimum degree so that you can take care of yourself. Because like what we did at Take Action, your mental health, not only take care of your physical health, your mental health is part of who you are. So
again, I'm Filipino, right? So obviously, as a Filipino American, I can only speak on my experience, but I think one of the biggest things that I've observed and witnessed growing up is, again, the stigma surrounding mental health. Oftentimes when it comes to at least the Filipino community, what I've observed is that mental health typically is seen as either a personal weakness or family failure, or it's a sense of shame when it comes to when they see someone going through depression. It's a big deal for them, and oftentimes they personalize it, right? And so if someone is going through something like depression or anxiety, because of the fact that they don't want to disappoint their families, they don't want to have a sense of shame, they kind of just suppress it and then just keep it down to the point where it gets progressively worse, and then crisis intervention is needed. And so we have to do a better job in educating our minority health populations that if someone has high blood sugar, right, or diabetes, we're just not gonna just overlook that, right? We want to encourage them to seek help. So same thing when it comes to mental health issues. Like if you're starting to notice these type of symptoms of depression, anxiety, mood disorder, emotional dysregulation, that it's important that we address it right away, because oftentimes it's not on them personally. It's not a personal weakness, but there's a lot of factors that go into it. And so we just have to destigmatize it and make them realize that this something is treatable, but we have to find strength in our vulnerability.
Great. And I also agree with you. Like a lot of cultures, they find it like demasculating,
Yeah.
or they find it like to be destigmatized from their family members. That even providers, that if they know that there's somebody in your family that has mental health issues and concerns, they'll be like, some of the providers will be like not admitting it because they think that it's a sign of weakness, shame, or there's attached to it like looking down on their family members as per se. So we need to be culturally informed as per se, not just being competent about different cultural backgrounds too.
Yeah.
I knew something had to disrupt healthcare. So I didn't identify it as AI, but I knew that the way we practice as clinicians within our healthcare spheres had to change. I mean, I remember when we were first, writing notes by handwritten notes, and they would be in a file somewhere, in a file room somewhere, and inaccessible unless you had that that chart, and it just seemed so antiquated that so much information is contained in those records, yet only one person can access it at a time. So I was hopeful that there would be a modernization of the way that healthcare was recorded, but that's only scratching the surface, right? That's just one aspect of healthcare. I've often thought throughout my clinical workday how much of my time is spent not on my nurse practitioner knowledge, but on the tasks that I had to do, calling the pharmacy, calling the insurance company, trying to track down a patient's prescription name. It just seemed such a waste of time, and it took me away from that direct patient care. So while I can't say I predicted the future, I knew something had to change, and I do believe that AI is going to be that technology that will help us transform, and for us clinicians to be better clinicians, to be more efficient. And my holy grail is to provide better patient care to every individual that I interact with. So that's my hope for the future.
This is one of my dream collaboration, and now it's happening. Dr. Daniel McKimmey in the house. Thank you so much.
Hey!
Yay.
Dr. Pedro, I've been eagerly awaiting this moment. I've been seeing so many of my colleagues on your show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, when's my turn?
What's your message to the next generation of DNP nurses of color listening to us right now?
Take up your space. You earned the education that you have pursued. You deserve to be in the places and spaces you choose to be in. You deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. So take up those spaces, and recognize that you're not only representing yourself, but you're representing your community. You're representing people that came before you and whose shoulders you stand on. So take pride in, and sometimes we're the only one. So take pride in that and make your mark, whatever that is. Don't try to copy or emulate someone, but find your authentic voice, your authentic space, and take up that space. If not you, then who?
I love your inspirational message. For those who are tuning into this podcast, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe to this podcast so you can get more updates. And also at the same time, Dr. McKimmey's message is very powerful, that finding your voice is really important. And it's okay to be unapologetic for what you're doing, as long as you're creating an impact to the community.
I would say put yourselves out there, even before you feel ready. If you're willing to be visible and share more of your story before you're ready, I really think the impact you can have is that much greater. And I think that it's very out of our comfort zone sometimes to think about doing, but I think that you don't really know how great the opportunities are and just what can happen in terms of helping other people until you kind of step into that. And there are downsides to being visible and being on social media, but I would just say, yeah, put yourself out there and make yourself more visible, because I think it will just only help psych NPs, even as students, to start doing that earlier. And I wish I had started doing that earlier.
When I first got here, fresh out from the boat, something like that. So I'm not Vietnamese, but when you're like, I'm not a refugee, but I had that. But anyways, but I never lost sight of the fact that I was here to make a difference. So even with that, people saying sometimes derogatory, kind of like as I grew from I'm already a registered nurse in the Philippines, and it took me a while. So I worked in the ICU and then became, like a charge nurse. And then I took my nurse practitioner and then into becoming a senior advanced practice provider and as a leader. So each step reinforced my belief that this was more than just a career. It's my purpose. And then moments like mentoring new nurses and seeing them grow into leaders, it was a constant affirmation that my journey was about more than just personal achievement, and it was more lifting others and impacting communities. Because that's why, as I mentioned, so my journey, I wanted to pass it on to them. Being an FANP, their journey other Filipino is yours to shape. Nurse practitioners, it's your, to be elevated. It's your life. Because we work hard. I can inspire you and influence you, and impacting our communities. And of course, uplifting each other. The takeaway is very simple. Your journey is yours to shape, and you have the power to impact the world. No matter where you start, whether you're at the bedside, in a classroom, or in a boardroom, your voice and your actions matter. Keep learning, keep advocating, and never underestimate the difference you can make, both for your patients and I would say for the world.
Caregiving and caring for others was already a part of my life and my culture. Our culture, we care for others already as part of the Filipino culture, our communities, right, our village, whatever the case may be. And so I think growing up, I always knew, Pedro, I wanted to go into some sort of a caring, or service-oriented profession. I just didn't know what that looked like. And then one day, I think I was a junior or senior in high school. My mom said, Rain, if I was able to, pursue my career, because she cared for her 9 siblings growing up as well. So she was always working or, caring for her family. She said, I would have loved to, pursue nursing. And I think that planted a seed in me, my friend, that, I said, oh, nursing. I never thought of, nursing as a career path. And sure enough, I explored it more. My dad's siblings who live in New York are also nurses. They're retired nurses now. And so, being surrounded by nurses and relatives who are nurses who spoke so highly of our profession in terms of the opportunities and the experiences that they've had, it became my pathway as well. So I think I credit my mom, Pedro, in terms of her influence in pursuing nursing.
What is one lesson about mental health, resilience, or leadership that you wish everyone in nursing truly understood?
That's a great question, Pedro. And I think it goes just to go back to our profession as a calling, and to always know your purpose, that there's I'm a strong believer in that the universe, God, we are where we are for a reason and for a purpose. In fact, one of Jean Watson in Caring Science, one of her famous sayings, I always have it right here. She always says, maybe this one moment with this one person is the very reason reason we're here on earth at this time. And so when I think about destiny and our purpose, it's, no matter what job or role or, title or, whatever you're doing, it's know that you're there for a purpose and that you're important and that you're enough, that you are a light to others, whether that's one person or your community or to thousands of nurses, as you mentioned, Pedro, that what you do is important. And I think when people get burnt out or when people lose their sight of their purpose or the meaning of or the importance of what they do, that's where I think things turn dark, right, for us. And so I'm so blessed in that my work now is to help our kababayans and our colleagues either rekindle that purpose or be reminded or stay connected to that purpose, and to build a community around that we have to be connected and care for ourselves as much as we care for others, because we're important. What we do is important, who we are is important. And I think knowing that and just being who you are, and that being enough every day, and knowing that you're important to whether it's one person or many people, that's so important to know, and so important to keep waking up and coming back to do what we do while we can, right? Because life is short. And so just enjoy the moment, celebrate when we can, and be kind. At the end of the day, be kind to yourself, and continue on this journey, my friend. And so it's been a blessing, Pedro.
Nursing is a profession for everybody in our society. And we really do have a moral and ethical obligation to make sure that we're standing up a nursing workforce that is going to care for all of us. That is how, according to the 2020-2030 report on the future of nursing, that's how we are going to use the nursing profession to help this nation achieve health equity. And health equity really has to do with people having access to those things that they need in order to optimize their health. And nursing can help us do that. So my message, my last point is actually one of hope, in that if any profession can do it, nursing can, because of the way in which, if we truly lean in on our code of ethics, we can see this as a singular mission. And all of us who are called to the profession of nursing can absolutely get behind. And that is doing everything that we can through our training and our lens as nurses to help all in our society achieve health equity.
Trust is everything, Pedro. Trust is everything. If your patients do not trust you, they're not coming back. Let's start there. Right? They're not going to keep those appointments, right? I mean, if they don't feel safe, you're not going to see them again. So trust is everything. It's super important that we build, what we call that patient provider relationship, that alliance. Because again, like we were just saying earlier, if the patients don't trust you, they're not going to follow their treatment plan. If they know that they can come here and not be judged, be it a side effect from a medication, or maybe a regular response to a medication or to a treatment, they're not going to share that with you. And we need to know. Like I tell them all the time. I tell my patients, staff, I want happy, healthy, mindful, functioning people in my community. So I want you well. I want you well. So I'm not going to treat you just because, no, I'm treating you because I'm putting everything into it so that you are well. Because I want well people around me.
I definitely agree with you, and I just want to piggyback that if the patient really trusts you, and we call that therapeutic alliance in psychiatry. you go back and you keep up your promise and making sure that you show up for your patient authentically. And now, what mindful reminder would you like to leave for clinicians, caregivers, students, and community members in this Black History Month?
I would say, just based off of the title of this podcast, right, your right to rest. So with everything that we are doing as clinicians and as parents and as advocates and as teachers, and the titles and the lists go on, you deserve those mindful moments. You deserve those moments to be you and to rest and to not do anything. It's okay. Some of us, sometimes it almost feels abnormal. Like, wait, I don't have anything to do. But yeah, you earned that. Like that is your time to rest. And because if you don't rest, then you can't pour from an empty cup. That's what they say, right? So it's super important for you to be able to take a breath, unclench your shoulders, and just rest. Take time for you.
So I would say make sure, and not everybody, has access to this, but I would say make sure you're at a hospital that supports you, because there are a lot of hospitals out there that don't have education programs and don't have transition and practice programs. And I think that is where, just like nursing school, when you go to clinicals, you need to have that hands-on and be prepared and be ready. So the best advice that I can give is make sure you have such a good support system so that you're not just thrown into the barracks and just left to, learn and fend for yourself, because you really should have that support system and that kind of like gentle guiding of like, we see this every single day, or, this, like, we hardly ever see this. Like, it's great that you get to experience this, So definitely having a great support system. It would be fantastic if all hospitals across the U.S. had transition and practice programs or really supportive educational programs. I tried really hard to get like a good educational program going at my hospital, but they were like, budget, we don't need that. Hospital that I was at, I just had such a poor experience, and I think most of it was kind of personality clashes and whatnot, and a lot of bullying. So that's really pushed me into advocacy, and so I think I'm having a better time now, because I think that's kind of where I always wanted to be. What kind of pushed me there was actually hearing someone say to me out loud, do you want to, if you want to really fit in there, you have to be like them. You have to be like the bullies, and that was just a turning point for me in my life. I was like, I will never be like them. I will never be like that. If somebody asked me for help or support, I'd be the first one to like, yeah, let's do it. Let's learn. Let's look this up. So I really thought to myself, I think I could be more useful somewhere else than being at the bedside. And so that's where advocacy was born.
Wanting to just be able to share and have a voice and be empowered to be part of the discussion at the table. I've come to realize that when you journey your life from the humble beginnings, you get to realize that what truly shaped you as to who you are and where you're heading are your values, that's grounded in just true human caring. The journey I had with the transformation is when I became a characters coach back in 2016. I used to struggle so much with, am I being enough? Are people accepting my ideas? Do I even have the voice? Or I have all the ideas, but I'm so hesitant about it. And becoming a characters coach was really life transforming to me, that opened my heart to embrace my self-worth, who I am, that it's okay to occupy space. So my message about being the CEO, the chief enthusiastic officer of my own personal and professional life, no one can take that away from me. You know, there's no one who's going to cheerlead for me but myself, no one else. So I will be embracing that title, and it's a message to everyone and to all of your followers and listeners and all the Filipino community and anyone aspiring to be a leader, that you'll be cheerleading for yourself, and you yourself is probably a CEO already, and you're not embracing that or not knowing that.
I love it. It's very creative in such a way that you are pushing us to be empowered with ourselves. And I think we are also born leaders of our life, right? We had different set of like setbacks, but we're still able to get up and create an impact and influence to our community.
That's true. That's true.
Don't be intimidated. You're joining an amazing profession. I've been a nurse for over 20-something years. I'm sure Dr. Patterson has longevity just as I do. I would not do anything different. Nothing different. I love what I do. And those who are in school, finish your degree and come join. Join the efforts. For sure. Don't be intimidated. There's nothing to be intimidated or discouraged about.
Nothing. I think nursing is the most resilient profession ever, quite honestly. We have been, fought against in so many different ways, and every time we come back bigger and stronger. We are the most trusted healthcare profession for over 25 years. And so you're joining, a profession where we really take care of each other. When we see things that are not correct, when we see things that are not right, we will stand up and fight for that. And that means our students as well. We understand that there's even struggles that you're going through right now with just getting your education funded. And believe you me, there are fights happening way above, what we're doing here in the state of Georgia. And I just encourage you to continue to pursue your education so that you can also be a part of the number that we, the numbers that we continue to, nurture and grow.
Our lives as nurses, especially those of us who are trying to do multiple things, have multiple interests, and I think we all do. You can sort of think of your portfolio of activity as, I think about dials, and you've got this dashboard and you've got all these different things you can do. And I think at any given time, it's a recipe. Think about your dials as piloting an atomic submarine. In order to get it where you need to go at the correct depth, with the best efficiency, use the least fuel, make sure the mission is accomplished, you've got to get the right balance of steam pressure. You've got to make sure the propeller is going at just the right speed. You've got to make sure your heading and direction are correct. When something's not going well and you're navigating poorly, I think that's the thing. When I lie down at night, I like to sort of reassess sort of what I accomplished in a day, in a week, in a month, in a quarter. And if I feel like I'm on track, that's great, I sleep better. But if not, I think just being aware of that, meditating on where you are at any given time for a moment. Are there skills that you need to add that could give you different options? Are there micro-credentials or different, if you get a telepsychiatry certificate, you get certified as a certified telemental health provider. You could add telehealth, move out of the clinic a little bit, adjust that dial a little bit. I think finding that right balance to say, maybe I'll need a little more of this and a little less of that, really adjusting that recipe to make sure that you're heading where you want to go. For me, that's been the model I use in my head. That's the image I conjure when I'm trying to figure out the right balance for me. And I'll admit I change it frequently. I like to take on project work. I'll take on a consulting job that lasts a few weeks or a few months. I network along the way. I meet fascinating people. I get involved in podcasting, and I author manuscripts, or I do some presentations where I get to partner with someone I've never presented with before. That I find fills my cup. It teaches me new things rather than just reading a journal article or passively listening to something. I'm involved, but I'm learning. And that allows me to really readdress my clinical practice, usually with a different vantage point or with a new skill set or a different viewpoint that allows me to bring another layer, and it allows me not to feel fatigued or burnt out in my work. So I've been doing that now for nearly 3 decades. So something's going well. Adjust your dials.
These have been Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante. Always remember, take care of each other, make your mental health as a priority. We are in this together. I trust that you will prioritize your mental health because there is no true health without a good mental health. I am humbled and honored to be part of this podcast, Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante. For more mindful conversations like this and meaningful engagement, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share or tag someone who needed to hear this conversation. I appreciate all of you and keep on thriving for your mental health. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Mindful Moments with Pedro Morante. Be sure to follow the podcast so you'll never miss an episode. If you find value in our time together, leave a quick review. It helps more people discover the space we're creating. For updates and more reflections, follow us on social media. Until next time, take care.